Hi, we are going to present to you what we call the YourWorld MDG visualizer. Now, the premise of this application is mainly that, not many people know about the Millennium Development Goals, and it would be really good, if people get educated about it in a way that's, interactive, in a way that leverages their social network, and in a way that, spurs them to do something, in a way that, calls them to action to do something about being part of the achievement of the Millennium Development Goals. And as you can see, we chose to implement our first version on an iPad, and the reason we did that is because it provides an interesting user interface to test out some ideas of, what kind of interactions, would make this data set mean a lot more to people, who don't regularly interact with it, people who are not researchers, people who are not, technical, of technical background. I mean, they want to interact with the data in a way that is reasonable to them, and that will actually call them to do some action about the data. So I'll go ahead and start the application. And I'll just zoom slowly so you can see. We just have, the main, this is straight the main screen, and I'll zoom in. And you can see the title there, Your World. On the top right-hand corner, we have information about the country. In this case, it's Brazil. So the country whose information we display on the top right-hand side is dependent on where the crosshairs on the map is. And then on the bottom right hand side we have a graph of the indicators. So we just picked a couple of indicators that we believe are important for the MDG goals. These are the gross domestic product, the GDP per capita, the fertility rate, the adolescent fertility rate, the life expectancy, the infant mortality, and the fraction of the population that's living in slums. So the right hand side of the application is the data display part, and the left hand side of the application is where the user interaction occurs. So if you focus a little bit on the left hand side, so there's a couple of, we are focusing on South America now, so you can see 5 South American countries: Brazil, Bolivia, Paraguay, Argentina, and Peru. And so there's 2 modes that we've implemented right now for interacting with the application. The first, which is the usual mode of interaction, which is just click. So for instance, now we are showing the data for Brazil, and as I click on the left hand side, pay attention to the data on the right hand side. So you can see it says Brazil, and these are indicators for Brazil. So if I click on Peru, immediately it changes to Peru with the indicators for Peru. Now all this is data that's being downloaded in almost real time from the MDG servers. I say almost real time because we've done some optimizations, some caching, to make sure that the user experience is actually pretty good. Then I'll show just as another example, if I click on Argentina, we instantly pan to Argentina, and the data on the right hand side updates to Argentina, capital city Buenos Aires, and the indicators on the bottom right hand side. The second mode of interacting with YourWorld MDG visualizer is just regular panning. So right now we are on Argentina. I'll pan to Paraguay, and again you notice on the right hand side, sorry, that the data has changed to data for it's Brazil now. I guess I overdid it, so I'll go to Paraguay. Yep, that's Paraguay now. And if I pan to Bolivia, again the data changes to data for Bolivia. So we envision just any regular user, one being drawn in by the user interface. It almost feels like a game. I mean, we have some ideas of how to make it feel even more like a game for the younger users, who want to learn about the countries in South America, for instance. But at the same time, we want to give them a glimpse into what the MDG goals are about in these countries. So as I said in the beginning, in addition to just education, or part of education includes, educating not just yourself, but the people around you. You want to feel that it's a community effort, to achieve the Millennium Development Goals. And so, towards that end, we thought it was a really good thing to be able to share, whatever you're learning from such an application with your friends, right? And so we added a share on Facebook feature. So first, I'll just show you my Facebook profile. I'm logged in right now. But so I've been using the app quite a bit, and so I'll zoom in just so you can see at the very top right there. The last thing that I posted was, Brazil, and just underneath that was Argentina, right? And so the idea basically is that, if I can instantly post anything that I learn from such an application, if I can share it with my friends, I mean, it'll push them to ask themselves, why is, Joseph sharing this with me? And, is there something about the MDG goals that, I can do about? So I'll just go ahead and demonstrate the sharing feature to you. So I'll go back to the MDG YourWorld visualizer, and this time I will select Paraguay. So let me zoom out just so you can see what I'm doing. So I'll go ahead and select Paraguay. We can see the MDG indicate the information and MDG indicators for Paraguay, and I'll go ahead and do share on Facebook, right? And since I'm already logged in, it just automatically brings me to the post onto your wall interface, and I'll go and say, just a message so my friends know I am doing this. And so as you can see, and that has already been published onto Facebook. So if I go back onto my Facebook profile, so back onto Facebook, so I'll refresh this page and I'll zoom in so you can see. So at the very top of the list, as you can see, is Paraguay. I'll just zoom out again. So I'll do see more. So right there, you instantly see, information that I've just posted from the MDG application about Paraguay, so all my friends can see that Joseph, just learned something about Paraguay. But more importantly, they will also learn, as just the same way I've learned, for instance, that, about 18% of the population lives in slums. I mean, that's a big thing that not many people know, right? And so we just think that, this kind of allowing people to learn from such simple applications, allowing them to share with other people, is a very, very big part of achieving the MDG goals. And so towards that end, I mean, so this is just like I said, we chose the iPad as our first platform because it has some very good user interaction possibilities to explore. And so we also have a version for the iPhone that we are working on in parallel. But then there is no restriction on which platform it is. I think it's more just about what we can do, interesting ways of leveraging the data, and just focusing on this application on the MDG visualizer. I mean, one way we see it being used is as a kids game, as kids play with the countries, identify the capital cities of Brazil, of Bolivia, or of Peru, right? As they're trying to identify capital cities, they're also learning, hey, by the way, Peru, is in the upper middle income bracket. Peru has these many. They might not understand all the data, but it's a learning process, not just for the kids, but for everyone else who's using such an application. And yes, I mean, we just think that our main premise is, educating yourself, educating other people is one of the key ways to learn to do something towards achieving the MDG goals, and doing it in a very interesting and fun way so that, more and more people get pulled in. They don't have to feel like it's much of an effort to actually be part of the community that's working towards achieving the MDG goals. And so I'll just zoom in for a final screenshot of the MDG visualizer.